What's up, guys? So one of the guys who's in my course, he was asking me what I think about starting your business with debt. And I want to talk about how I think about debt. And I want to give you an example of a few guys who started their business differently and how it played out for them. So first up is getting into debt okay? You know, do I think that debt is okay? In simplest terms, no. In a perfect world, nobody would have debt, and you could just pay for everything, and it would be fantastic, and you wouldn't have any payments. But the fact is most dudes do not have, 20 grand laying around, 15 grand laying around to get their lawn care business started. So that kind of brings up the question, like, is it okay to finance mowers and trucks and stuff like that to get your business up off the ground, okay? So again, we're going to talk about that in this video, and we're going to lay out a few different examples of some guys who did it differently and how that played out for them. So guys, just real quick, in the simplest terms, I want you to think of debt as really there's two types. There's more than two types, but in the simplest terms, I just want you to think of debt as revolving debt and then installment debt, okay? So revolving debt, that is going to be like credit card type stuff, and then think of installment debt as like fixed payment stuff, whether it's your mortgage or automobile equipment purchases, stuff like that, okay? So again, revolving debt, that balance goes up and down depending on how you're paying it, and then installment debt is kind of like a fixed payment type stuff. Again, there's exceptions to that, but we're not going down that rabbit hole. I just want you to understand that me personally, for my sake and the way that I do business, I feel like revolving debt is a trap for a lot of people. And I don't do credit cards. I never have, okay? I've never owned a credit card. And before you say, John, I know there's a lot of people who use their credit cards wisely. They get their points and cash back, and they pay off their balance at the end of the month, and it's great for them. I understand that, but there's two reasons that I don't like revolving debt, okay? Number one, and the biggest reason, is because I don't like that whole system, man, because just that system in general, like the people who are able to take advantage of it, that whole system preys upon the people who don't make their monthly payments. Like, it's set up so, like, if you're winning in that system, somebody else is losing terribly, okay? And it's just a rigged system, man. And that brings me to my second point. Nobody signs up for a credit card and is like, hey, I'm going to go into massive debt and carry a big balance, No, people say, I'm just going to get my credit card for the stuff I was going to buy anyways. Groceries and gas, and I'm gonna pay it off, and I'm gonna take advantage of the points and the air miles and whatever the heck they do with that. Inevitably, you have something come up and you don't make the full payment, and then you carry your balance into the next month, man, and then that just starts that avalanche. And again, like, nobody gets a credit card thinking that it's going to end up being a big thorn in their side, but the banks and those lending institutions, they know that, man. They know statistically you're going to at some point screw up and then start carrying that balance, and they're going to start raking in 18-20% off you carrying that balance every month. So again, first thing regarding revolving debt, I don't do it here at my company. We do everything pay for cash. I run use debit cards for everything, and we don't do credit. Okay, so that's how I view revolving accounts. I don't want anything to do with it myself. So going into the second type of debt, the installment type debt, fixed payment type stuff, I want to explain, again, 3 different examples and how this could help for you, okay? Okay, so let's say you got 3 guys, okay? We'll call guy number 1 Pat, all right? And Pat says, hey, I'm not interested in any debt. I'm going to shoestring my business right from the get-go. And, hey, I got a push mower in my garage. Maybe I got a lawn tractor, in my garage. I have some basic handheld equipment. And, I can get to and from my jobs with my current car. And I can go out and I can get this business up and running. And I don't have to take out any debt. So every bit of money that I'm making is going right back in my pocket, okay? It's a great way of thinking. I get it. I understand that. But here's how that plays out for Pat, okay? So Pat, his production capacity with his current equipment, his push mower and his lawn tractor, his production capacity would be, let's say, for example, 4 yards a day. Well, 4 yards a day times 5 days a week, and let's say if you're getting $50 a yard, the most that he's going to get in the course of a month based on his current setup would be $4,000, okay? But hey, sweet little side gig money, right? Extra money, $4 grand a month. Who wouldn't want that debt free, okay? Now you got guy number two, example number two. Let's call him John. All right. So John is going to start his business, and he's going to say, "Hey, I actually want to start with some decent equipment. I want a good zero-turn mower. I'm gonna need a pickup truck. I want some decent handheld equipment." And John has 15 grand cash on hand, but he starts thinking, he's like, if I use all my cash up on this equipment, I'm not gonna have any cash left. It's going to take all the cash right out of my business. So John says, hey, I am going to finance my truck. I'm going to finance the mower, and I'm going to finance the handheld equipment, and I'm going to hold on to my 15 grand cash. And for a used pickup truck and then the mower and everything, John's payments come out to $550 a month. But now John's production capacity with his zero turn and his trailer and his mowing equipment, his zero turn and stuff, his production capacity, instead of Pat, who was 4 yards a day, let's say John can now do 10 yards a day. All right, so if John's doing 10 yards a day at $50 a pop, all right, John's doing pretty good. He's making $500 a day, comes out to about $2,500 a week, $10,000 a month, okay? So now John's making $10,000 a month, and he has a $550 a month payment for financing that equipment. So the question that I would ask is that $550, is it a wise move for John? Was it a wise move? Well, I think most of us would agree that, hey, $550 a month in payment to make $9,450 in total revenue for the month is fantastic. Great. All right, so now let's go with guy number three, okay? Third example. We're going to call him, let's call him Mark, all right? So Mark says, I'm not doing it like John did. I want the best zero turn that money can buy. I know that I'm going to need a 3/4 ton, 2500 or 250 style truck in the future. I'm going to go ahead and get that. Look, I'm going to go ahead and get the trailer I need. I'm going to get an enclosed trailer, tandem axle. I'm going to load it out with all the racks I need. And then I'm going to have some backup equipment in case things go down. I just want to be ready for anything that could possibly come at me. So again, Mark is starting out, taking on debt, but his debt is considerably more than John's, okay? And his payments on that brand new big truck and the enclosed trailer and everything, let's say it's $2,500 a month, okay? But here's the deal. Mark's production capacity, it's no different than John's, okay? So John, he was profiting $9,450 at the end of every month, but Mark, who can still only do the same amount of yards as John can do with his setup, his payments are $2,500 a month, so he's only making $7,500 a month as compared to the $9,450 that John is. So I hope you see that there is a balancing act here between not using any debt at all and then using too much debt. And that is the problem that people run into. They do not know how to balance that. Now you say, hold up, Jonathan, you're making quite an assumption here. And if you caught it, good. Because we did make an assumption, okay? We made the assumption that John and Mark would both be able to just get more customers, all right? We made that assumption that their customer acquisition would meet their production capacity of their equipment. If we go back to example 2 with John, we said he had how much cash on hand? He had $15,000 cash on hand, okay, that he had saved up in savings or whatever. And he decided he did not want to use that cash and empty it on his equipment, okay? Because cash is the lifeblood of your business, all right? John financed his equipment, and then he took $5,000 of that cash and he put it to use in a much better way. What John did was he took $5,000 of his cash, he plowed it into wrapping his work truck, he plowed it into a good website, and he plowed it into some good uniforms to have a professional image in the neighborhoods that he was working in. And so by using that $5,000, now John not only has an efficient mowing setup that's making him more money than Pat and as much money as Mark, but now John has more clients coming in, plus John still has $10,000 cash left over because he did not drain his cash reserves on equipment. So to answer your question, should lawn care business owners go into debt to start their companies? I feel like the truth is in the middle, okay? I feel like you owe it to yourself to have functional equipment. You should be wise about where you are pushing your cash. Do not deplete your cash reserves. There's great opportunities out there for lawn business owners to finance equipment, leverage equipment to meet production capacity, but do not overdo it. Don't do like Mark did, because at some point there is a point of diminishing returns, meaning you cannot buy your way to more sales, okay? You just need your equipment to be functional, okay? And if you have to take out some debt to get that done, it is better to have productive equipment that you can grow with than it is to shoestring your business from the very beginning and shoot yourself in the foot. So again, is it okay for debt? Guys, I hope you see in this example that the truth is in the middle, okay? You got to use a balancing act and be wise about what you're doing. Don't shoestring it like Pat unless it's truly on the side for you. But look, there's no reason to go the route Mark did either, because at some point you're just going backwards and you're getting more than you need, okay? Secure the equipment that you need. Be wise about how you spend your cash. Do you need debt for your business? The truth is in the middle.